to show you how to make a pizza for beginners. This will be a full tutorial, so let's get right into the video. Now, before we make the pizza, you want to preheat your oven to 450 because you want that oven to be nice and ready and hot when you're done getting the pizza prepared so that you can put it directly into the oven. So, as you can see, I've sort of laid out everything nicely on the counter for you, and I don't usually lay it out like this. Usually I just take the sauce straight from the jar and so forth, but let's give this video a like. Let's smash the thumbs up button for me going to all of this extra work to make it look nice and presentable. Smash that like button if you appreciate this. So as you can see, we're starting off with some pizza dough and some flour. You want to coat the pizza dough in flour so that it's not sticky anymore, okay? So you want to get that pizza dough and coat it in flour so that it's not sticky. And you can put lots of flour on it because you're going to get it off after anyway. So as you can see right here, I've coated the pizza dough in flour. It's no longer sticky. It just makes it easier to work with. I'm going to push all the excess flour to the side. Now we're going to stretch out the pizza dough, okay? So what we can do is we can do this a few ways. You can just use your hands and you can knead out the pizza dough. This is actually how my mom does it. She's done it like this ever since I was a kid. I would always see her stretching out the pizza dough like this. Or you can use a roller like this to stretch it out, okay? Or you can hand toss the pizza dough, okay, which is a different method. You can, in the air, you can hand toss it like that. I'm just kind of showing you how it works down here, okay? Either way, you want to stretch it out into a nice circular shape and make sure that the edges are just a little bit thicker. So stretch it out. And what you want to do is you want to put it on a pan, okay? Now I'm going to do a little bit of magic here. I'll show you in a second. On that pan, you want to add just a tiny, extremely thin coating of oil. Now don't pour the oil right on the pan. What you want to do is get a paper towel like this. Just put a drop of oil on the paper towel, just like that, okay? Then with the paper towel with the oil on it, just coat that pan. That's going to give it a nice crispy underside of the pizza. And in addition, it's just going to allow it to avoid sticking to the pan. Once you've stretched it out, you're going to place it on the pan with a little bit of magic. It's going to look like this. This is a different pizza dough that I already stretched out. So to save you time from watching me stretch it out, I'm going to show you what it looks like when you're done. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to start with the toppings. So we got to do a few things. I'm going to go over here and grab a spoon really quickly because you want to start off with the sauce. So this is specifically pizza sauce. I didn't make this, I bought it. It's store-bought, okay? You want to get a spoon with your sauce, put some dollops of sauce like that all around, and avoid going too close to the edge. I'll tell you why, okay? You can make it as saucy as you want. You're going to spread with the spoon that sauce around like this. But you don't want to ever go on the crust area, which is all around the side. So what I like to do is use the spoon to spread it around like this, okay? And I like to rotate the pan like that, as you can see, just like that. But don't go to the crust. So once you've got the center covered, you want to use the spoon to sort of work it close to the edges. I'm going to add a bit more sauce on this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going close to the edges, but I'm not going all the way up to the edge because that's the crust. And I don't want to have sauce on my crust. So as you can see right there, now it's about being delicate and carefully working that sauce towards the edge like that, as you can see right there. But like I said, I'm not actually going right to the edge. I'm just going close to the edge. I'm using the underside of the spoon to go close to the edge like that, okay? Just like that. You want to get as much sauce as you want on there. It's a personal preference kind of thing. Once you've sauced it up, it's time to move on to the other toppings. As you can see, it's nice and full of sauce. Now, I always recommend that you use cheese. That's my next topping of choice. I have some freshly grated mozzarella cheese. I got this fresh. I just grated it right now. I use 2 hands and I sprinkle it all around. Now, I try to not get cheese on the crust, but it doesn't matter so much because sometimes getting a couple droplets of cheese on the crust will add some flavor to it, okay? Now, I like my mozzarella cheese like this on the pizza. You can see some of it's nice and straight, some of it's a little bit crumbly together. In my opinion, it just adds a lot more flavor like this, okay? So you want to coat it with as much cheese as you want. I recommend that you don't do all of your cheesing right now. You leave just a little bit to the end. If you get some on the pan, you want to take that off because then you're going to have to clean it off later. Okay, next you want to add your toppings. So what I like to do next, I like to add the pepperoni. I like to do all the flat stuff nice and first. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to add some pepperoni around here just like this. You can add as much or as little as you want. You don't have to add pepperoni, but this is a very typical pizza topping, in my opinion. And like I said, make sure your oven is preheating to 450. That's my temperature of choice. Some people go a little bit higher, some people go a little bit lower, but 450 is what I like to use. My pepperoni is on there now, and what we're going to do is we're going to add some additional toppings. Like I said, I always start with the flat ones. So over here, I got my toppings that I'm going to choose, and I'll show you a little trick, so stay tuned. Don't click away just yet. Stay tuned for the trick. I'm going to add my mushrooms because they're nice and flat. With mushrooms, I tend to go a little bit more sparse than with the pepperoni because I like having more pepperoni and just slightly fewer mushrooms, okay? So I'm adding a little bit of space between them. As you can see, one in the middle just like that. A quick tip is you can actually dice your mushrooms. I've diced mushrooms on pizza before, and it actually tastes unbelievable. But it does take some extra time, and I didn't really have the time to devote to doing it today, but it's definitely something that you can do. The next thing that I'm going to add are a couple of tomatoes. You don't have to do this because it already has a sauce. This is just something that I like to add. I'm actually only going to add tomatoes on half of it right here. That's another trick. You can add things on half. So I'm adding tomatoes on this half right here, okay? Now, what I'm going to add next are my peppers. Now, this pizza is for myself and my wife. I'm going to make one for my kids separately with the toppings that they like. My wife likes peppers on her pizza. I don't really like them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put peppers on half, but in another direction. So now you can customize your pizza however you want. So I'm going to add some peppers on this half. Now check this out, okay? This is like a somewhat complicated pizza because this half is going to be my wife's half. And her half has peppers on the whole thing, but only tomatoes on half. So she could choose a slice with tomatoes or without, but always with peppers. On my half, I can choose no peppers with tomatoes or without. But you're gonna basically put your toppings on your pizza. Lastly, not lastly, but second last, I'm gonna add some onions, okay? So onions, because they're strong, you don't wanna add too many of them. You wanna add, just add them sparingly, really. They're gonna add a little bit of flavor, but you don't want an overpowering sensation of onions on the pizza. It's gonna really take over, so I just add a few. And then I like to add some olives. You can choose green olives or black olives. I alternate, to be honest with you. Just like onions, olives are pretty strong. They have a strong flavor. So take your time, add them sparingly. And for things like this, I don't like to really place them on the pizza because then it gets too precise. I like to just drop them like this because then some pieces are going to have that strong olive taste and others aren't. So that's just my preference. Now we have this pizza. It's ready to go. I'm going to move all this out of the way so you can get, whoop, almost broke a plate. Be careful. You can get a better view of this. Now we have this pizza. It looks delicious. It smells delicious. Our oven would be preheated to 450. Mine's already preheated, okay? But our oven would be preheated to 450 now or very shortly after this point. And at that point, you're gonna put that pizza in the oven like this. You have that oil on the bottom. Like I said, we've coated it with oil on the bottom. The pizza goes in the oven like this at 450 for approximately 12 to 15 minutes. And that is a rule of thumb. But you can choose a different temperature, whatever sort of suits your needs, and a different timing. What I do recommend is that every 3 to 4 minutes, you look inside the oven. Either you open that lid of the oven or you turn the light on in the oven and you look to see where it's at. What you're looking for is the cheese to be melted and a golden brown and the crust to be nicely baked, okay? And once you're at that point, you can take the pizza out. The pizza will continue to bake for just a couple of minutes, even when it's out of the oven because of the heat of the pan. But do check on it. A rule of thumb is 12 to 15 minutes at 450 in the oven. But check on it, because your style, you might only need 10 minutes or you might need 16 or 17 minutes. So check on it every 3 to 4 minutes and see where you're at. Take it out when it suits your specific flavor. And that's basically it. That is how to make a pizza for beginners. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below as a comment. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more great videos just like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.